We're asked to determine the best buy based on the unit price of each item. Well, the unit price is going to be cost dollar per one item. So dollar per one item. So it's always going to be cost per item. And this means per. So I'm going to check and see which one is the better cost per item, which one has the cheaper sale or cost for one of the items, because we have 8 batteries and we have 16 batteries, but we want to find out which one has cheaper one battery. So $6.29 for 8 or $12.99 for 16. So I'm going to do $6.29 divided by 8, and that's going to give me 0.78625. And then I'm going to do $12.99 divided by 16, which is going to give me 0.811875. So this is about 79 cents a battery. This is about 81 cents a battery. So this is the better buy. The 8 batteries for $6.29 is the better buy. We have our proportion here, 8 over 36 equals something over 9. We are going to use cross multiplication to answer this. So we're going to do multiply this way, multiply this way. So 36 times C is 36C. 9 times 8 is 72. So I did cross multiplication. And now I'm going to divide by my coefficient. Division, property of equality. And I'm going to get C equals 2. So I'm going to do cross multiplication here to solve this proportion. I'm going to do 14 times 2, and I'm going to do 7 times 3z plus 10. So 7 times 3z plus 10, I need to multiply it by the whole thing, equals 14 times 2. So here I did cross multiplication. This is going to give me 21z plus 70 equals 28. This is the distributive property. Now I'm going to subtract 70 from both sides, and that's going to be the subtraction property of equality. And when I do 28 minus 70, I get negative 42. So 21z equals negative 42. I'm going to divide by my coefficient, 21. Division, property of equality, and I'm going to get z equals negative 2. To solve this proportion, I'm going to use cross multiplication. So I'm going to do 9 times the quantity r minus 5, and I'm going to do 3 times the quantity r plus 7. So 9 times the quantity r minus 5 equals 3 times the quantity r plus 7. Super important that you remember this is going to turn into a distributive property problem. So this was cross multiplication. And I'm going to distribute now. 9r minus 45 equals 3r plus 21. Distributive property. I'm going to add 45 to both sides. And that's the addition property of equality. And that's going to give me 9r equals 3r plus 66. I'm going to subtract 3r from both sides. Oops. Minus 3r. Subtraction property of equality. It's going to give me 6r equals 66. Then I'm going to divide by my coefficient with the division property of equality, and I'm going to get r equals 11. There are 2 ways you can do this problem. If 4 containers of yogurt cost $2.36, find the cost of 6 containers of yogurt. The first way you can do it is to find the unit cost of the yogurt and then multiply that by 6. So you could do $2.36 for 4 yogurts and then divide $2.36 by 4 to get you 59 cents per 1 yogurt, and then multiply that by 6 to get 3.54 for 6 yogurts. You could do it that way. The other way you can do it is to set up a proportion and say $2.36 for 4 yogurts and X cost for 6 yogurts. And then you could do cross multiplication and say 6 times 236 equals 4x. So then you multiply 6 times 236 and get 1416 equals 4x. Divide by 4. Oh, this was cross multiplication. Divide by 4. This is going to be the division property of equality. And then if you divide that by 4, you get 354 equals x. So either way, you're going to get 354. It just depends on how you want to do it. So we're going to find x, which is that middle size of the triangle side. And there are several ways you can do this. They're all going to involve proportions. So if we want to do, we can set it up to say 7 over 5. So these two legs right here is equal to 14 over x, these two legs right here. So then I can do cross multiplication and get 7x equals 14 times 5, which is 70. So cross multiplication, divide by my coefficient, division property of equality. I'm going to get x equals 10. You could have done it with 28 over 20 equals 14 divided by x, and you'll still get x equals 10. Dustin and Dart combine their coins to find they have all nickels and quarters. They have 8 more quarters than nickels, and the coins are worth a total of $4.70. How many nickels and quarters do they have? So the first thing I need to do is assign my variables. I see that it says I have 8 more quarters than nickels. So quarters is given to me in terms of nickels. So my nickels is going to be, I'm going to let that be n. And my quarters have 8 more than the nickels. So I'm going to have n plus 8 because they have 8 more quarters than nickels. Now, I know that together they equal 470. So I know that the nickels plus the quarters equals 470. But we're talking about the amount that they are worth. So the nickels are only worth 5 cents. So I have 0.05 times my nickels, and my quarters are worth 25 cents. So 25 cents times n plus 8. So I'm going to do the distributive property there, plus two 470. I'm going to combine my two n's to give me 0.3 n plus 2 equals 470. I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. So this was the distributive property. This I combined like terms. This is going to give me 0.30 n equals 270. And now I'm going to divide by my coefficient. Division property of equality. And I'm going to get 9. N equals 9. So that's my nickels. My quarters are n plus 8. So 9 plus 8, and that is 17 quarters. Two cars leave Indianapolis, one driving east and the other driving west. The eastbound car travels 8 miles per hour slower than the westbound car, and after 3 hours, they are 414 miles apart. Find the speed of each car. So this is going to require that I use my formula distance equals rate times time, and that I also know that the two distances that they're traveling is going to equal my total distance. So I can do the total distance is going to be 414, and then the distance that my first car is going to go is going to be, let's see, the distance of the westbound car is the rate, we'll say x times the time of 3 hours, and the distance of the eastbound car is going to be, let's see, 8 miles slower. So x minus 8 times 3 hours. So that tells me that, look, the total distance, the distance of the two together equals my total distance. So I can do 3x plus 3 times x minus 8, and that's going to give me 414 miles, because the distance of one plus the distance of the other gives me the distance of the total. So I'm going to do 3x and then distributive property 3x minus 24 equals 414. So this was the distributive property. Then I'm going to combine my like terms to get 6x minus 24 equals 414. So this was combined like terms. Then I'm going to add 24 to both sides. Addition property of equality. So that's going to give me 6x equals 438. And then I'm going to divide this by 6. Division property of equality, and I'm going to get 73. So this is the distance of the westbound car, is my x. My eastbound car is x minus 8. So here we have 73 minus 8, 63, 64, 65. So this is 65 is the eastbound car. AJ is traveling north on a road while Rohan is traveling south on the same road. They pass by each other at 3 p.m., AJ driving 30 miles per hour and Rohan driving 40 miles per hour. At what time will they be 105 miles apart? So we can draw a little drawing here. This is where they cross each other, which is at 3 p.m. And then one car, don't laugh at my car, one car is going 30 miles per hour, and then one car is going 40 miles per hour. And we're looking at what time will it be where that distance is 105. So what we know is the distance, the total distance is 105 miles apart. So the rate and time of Rohan or AJ plus the rate and time of Rohan will equal the distance, because we have two rates and two times. So I know that the rate of AJ is 30 miles per hour, and he's going to drive for some amount of time. I know that the rate of Rohan is 40 miles per hour, and he's going to drive for that same amount of time. And then they're going to be 105 miles apart, because they're both driving for the same amount of time, and the distance is going to equal 105. Now, if I add these together, I get 70 and 105. This was combining like so. This was substitution. Then this was combined like terms. And now I'm going to divide by 70. And I'm going to get 1.5. Now, this was the division property of equality. Now, we have to be careful, because we're asked at what time of the day they're going to be 105 miles apart. The time is given in hours, so 1.5. So 3 p.m. plus 1.5 hours is 4:30 p.m. So they're going to pass each other at 4:30 p.m. So you can't just leave it as 1.5, because that's not what it's asking. It's asking what time of day. So you have to add the 1.5 hours to the 3 p.m. At noon, a cargo van crosses an intersection at 30 miles per hour. At 12:30, a car crosses the same intersection traveling in the opposite direction. At 1 p.m., the van and the car are 54 miles apart. How fast is the car traveling? All right, so we're going to use our rate equals distance plus time. Rate equals distance. Oh my gosh. Distance equals rate times time. This one, D equals RT. Yeah, that one. All right, and in this case, I know the total distance is 54, and that's going to be equal to the rate and time of the van plus the rate and time of the car. So the rate of the van is 30 miles per hour, and the time that they're driving, it says at noon the van leaves the intersection, and at 1 p.m. is when they're 54 miles apart. So the van has been driving for 1 hour, from noon to 1 p.m. And then we don't know the rate of the car, but we know that the car left the intersection at 12:30. So from 12:30 to 1 p.m. is half an hour. So you got to make sure that you put it in terms of hours and not in terms of minutes. Like, you wouldn't want to put 30 there, because that would not be the same unit of time. So you have to put 1/2, because it's half an hour. And then this is going to equal 54. So 30 times 1 is just 30, and then we're going to have 1/2 R equals 54. I'm going to subtract 30, so this was just substitution. This I just multiplied. I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides. Subtraction property of equality. And I'm going to get 1/2 R equals 24. Then I'm going to multiply both sides by the denominator by 2. Division property of equality. And I'm going to get R equals 48. So the rate of the car is 48 miles per hour.